Let's work on these parts a little bit more. Come up with this part I want to build now. It's a little bit complicated to build, but you know, in the drawing, of course, if you buy the drawing and you print out the PDF, of course, you could just tape that on your part or whatever, and then center punch it or whatever you want to do there. Oh, yeah, I took my glasses on. I'm trying to squint and see this. But anyway, I'll show you. I like to just sit down in CAD for a minute and just lay things out and see how it's going to work out before I get up there and get my hands dirty. Yeah, I'm lazy. I like to sit here for a minute. So let's just pull this up on the computer. That whole center is at 5 7/8, and it's 5/8 from that side. So let's go in to the drawing and look at it. So I already drew one out here and kind of worked out what I think is the easiest method to do. So first off, what I would do, what I think I'll do, get my glasses on and I can't see. Um, so this is 2-inch square tubing, okay? So let's put in 2 inches. I would cut an 8.5-inch piece of square tubing. That's what I believe would work the best. So there we go. Let's draw it out. There's a piece of 8.5-inch long piece of 2-inch square tubing. Okay. So we look back in our drawing. We need a 1-inch hole in it. Let's see, it's a 1/2-inch radius, so we need a 1-inch hole. It's at 5/8 and 5 7/8. I got a drawing here in front of me. I'm just looking at it. So let's put a circle in there. So before I did the angles, I would just drill that hole. So let's put that in right there. All right, that's where our hole goes. And so there's our piece. Let's just drill a hole now. If you don't have a 1-inch drill or a good way to drill 1 inch, I mean, I got a mill and stuff like that. I know not everybody has that stuff. So let's say you want to use a hole saw. Just go to the hardware store. If you don't have a hole saw, 1-inch hole saw, what I would do in that case is go ahead and drill you a 1/4-inch pilot, or say 3/16 pilot, something just under 1/4 inch. Most hole saws, I think, have a 1/4-inch pilot drill in them. So if you wanted, you could, let's just say, I'll just put a 1/4 inch just for the fun of it. Just drill your pilot hole in that, and then all the way through it. Then you could come in and just put it in a vise or whatever, and with a hand drill, take a hole saw and cut that out on both sides, and you'll be good. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to probably leave it in the mill when I do that. I've got 1-inch drill bits and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm just saying, okay, we'll cut an 8.5-inch piece of square tubing. Let's drill a 1-inch hole right there where it goes. Now we need to cut that 45-degree angle on it. I already did the math on this and figured all this out. So this drawing shows, let me show it to you. Where is it? That 5.875, which is 5 7/8, is the center of the hole, which is above where we're going to cut it off at the end. So these numbers are 5 inches from there. You know, I can measure. That's the nice thing about doing this on the CAD. You know, I can measure this stuff. And there it is, 5 inches. This end, this other side is 2 inches more than that end. That's just how it works out. So what we're going to do now is, and you can put a line, or a lot of times, if I want to turn something 45 degrees, I'll just prove this out to you this way. So if you look at the drawing again, we need at 5 3/4, is where the left side of this is right here. This one is at 5 inches. So what I could do is let me just draw a rectangle. And let's put that at 5 inches. I've already done the math for you here. And at 2 inches. Okay. I didn't get that right. I tried to make this video like 4 times. I keep missing. Get on camera and I get retarded here. I'm going to draw a rectangle. I don't want to do that. Well, yeah, I do. Oh my gosh. I want to make a 3 by 3 square is what I want to do. And I want to set it up here at the 2 inch point. And we are at 5 inches, remember, is where we're doing that. So, okay, now let's just select this and rotate it 45 degrees. Need to be anchored right there. And there we go. So, you notice how that clips off some of your holes. So don't drill your hole after you cut the 45, because that's going to be a heck on a drill bit. You probably could get by with it on a hole saw. But the way I think would be the easiest is to go ahead and cut this 8.5 inch long piece, drill your hole, then cut your 45. And I'm going to give you these numbers here. That's what's good on the CAD is that is going to be 7 inches. And just to get rid of stuff we don't need, well, I'll show you the number here first. So from that number there, from that edge of that is 7 inches. And this edge here is 5 inches. So if you were going to cut that with, just say you want to cut it with a grinder and a cutoff wheel, say you don't have a chop saw or bandsaw or some way you're going to cut that 45, you could just mark that 5 inches on that corner, 7 inches on that corner, and there's your 45. Okay. Now, that gets that part done. Okay, so let me get rid of that so you can see where we're at. So let's just cut off everything we don't need here. Okay, so we don't need that. We don't need that. Try not to screw up here. Looks like a dot showing up there. I guess it's not. Okay. So, well, that won't be there. So that's what it's going to look like when you cut the 45. You're going to be cutting. That's why you don't want to take a drill and try to drill that. That interrupted cut is probably going to destroy your drill bit and might make it want to go nuts on you. So I would drill the hole before you do that part. Okay. But now to get it like this, we got to cut that length off. I'll show you the drawing again. Where's my drawing? It's at 5 3/4 is the length. See that on the left side there? 5 3/4 is the length we want to cut that off at. So now let's just again, I like to use rectangles. It seems like it's easier. So let's just put that at 5 3/4. Okay, and there's just a line to deal with. Now that's our length. See how that's going to leave us that little spot. So, just to show you what it's going to look like now is we're going to get rid of everything else that we don't need. And there we go. There's our part. But see, well, now we can measure all this off. And according to your drawing, I'm going to pull the drawing back and show you. See this side, it don't give you this length here in the drawing. These are PDF drawings that you can cut this stuff out or print them out and lay them on your part, whatever. It gives us this length. It's 5 3/4 is our length here. And remember, our hole is a little bit high above that. It's at 5 7/8, and we're 5/8 from the edge. And it's going to, this is not important really, but it's going to be 5/8 to that corner. So you could take that if you wanted and just hand cut this stuff, but remember you got that long side to cut out too. So to me, I think the way I'm showing you is a little easier. And there we go. Everything is right. I mean, we can measure this. In fact, I can put dimensions here just to show you on a bigger area here. Is from that area to that one is 5 inches. From this side to this side is 5 3/4. And you know, any of these dimensions you want to look at, you could always take this on CAD and look at them. That's an inch and a 16th, you might say. These little bitty spots here, I know they're not important here, but you know, that's what's good on the CAD is you can pull them up, and if you wanted to double check your stuff, you know, you could do all kinds of goofy stuff like this and crowd up your screen. But you know, there's your all your numbers. We don't need all that, but anyway, that's why I think will make that part easy to make. And if you need help, you know, I've had a guy contact me, want me to do some plasma cut parts, and I've kind of showed him this picture in an email. You know, email me larrytech54@gmail.com. That's Larry and DECH 54. I'm not doing this for a living. This is a hobby shop, but I'm willing to help people if you need any help to get any of this cut. And I'm a little better at cutting parts. That's what I do for a living. I'm better at cutting parts than I am at fabricating. I can fabricate and weld and do everything. I'm a highly perfectionist, and I'm drawing these down to the thousandth. You know, and this is weld together parts. Most people could hack this stuff out and be done with it while I'm sitting here at the computer looking at stupid stuff like this. So, but this is kind of, I'll show you kind of how this is laid out in these parts that Barry was talking about. He kind of wanted me to cut. These are all the parts that I plasma cut already. Well, I've done most of them. I'll show you in the shop in a little while. I've cut. These are different motor mounts. I think I showed you before. You don't need all of these, just whichever style of motor you put on it. Mine's a 56H, so I use this one. But once I already cut all of these, then I'm stepping on over to the list of that's in the drawing over here of all these kind of parts that I got to cut out. Okay, so I've already cut. I've got 1.5 inch, 3/8 flat bar and 2-inch flat bar. And a lot of these things you can cut with a saw. You know, and sometimes there's a hole you got to tap or drill or something like that. That's not a big deal. I plasma cut any holes that are not threaded. The holes that are going to be threaded, I'm going to get that on the mill and dial those in to a real accurate spot so I get them right. But anyway, if you need any of those, I'm here in North Texas. I'm in west of Dallas Fort Worth area. You know, I can help you build these if you need to. I can't imagine that you'd want to mess around and waste time trying to cut these funky shapes like that. That would be hard to do. Some of them are not bad because they're just a notched off corner. Anything that has a radius onto it or stuff like that, especially that slot, you ain't gonna do that without some special equipment. And material is real expensive right now, so 3/8 is real expensive. So, you know, if you're in this general area and you've got some material you want me to cut, hey, bring it over to the shop and we'll cut it out. I'm not looking to make money on this. I'm just trying to help. And, you know, I got to pay for my shop expenses. So, you know, like I told Barry, probably to cut all this stuff out, you know, I might have to charge you $100 for cutting these funny shapes because it'll take me most of the day to get that set up and do it. And I'll deburr the parts and make sure the hole sizes are right and all that kind of thing. But again, I'm not looking for work. I got a full-time job. This is not what I do for a living here at my shop. But this is how I lay them out. And I've already contacted Jeremy to ask him if I can cut parts for y'all. If you buy his drawings, you send me basically the drawing of what you want me to cut, and I can cut it for you. I don't think you'll have a problem with that, but I do need some kind of verification that you did buy his drawings, because legally I can't take his drawing and sell it to somebody else, anything like that. So anyway, I'm just working through this build, so let's get out in the shop here in a minute, and I'm going to show you a few highlights of what I've got done. I can't show you every detail because it just takes too long, but anyway, I'm going to get back out there and get busy. Inch and a quarter little bushing, 1/2 inch hole in it. Need to deburr that a little bit. I'll do that over on the bench. Let's go look at what we got going on there. Yeah, I got a few things done here. Got all these bushings made. Spacers, whatever you want to call them. These are 3/4 by with a 3/8 hole in them. These are 1 inch with a 1/2 inch hole in them. 1/2 inch bolt goes right through them just fine. So that's the other one I just made. Yep. Still need to deburr that a little bit. I could have done it on the lathe, but it ain't that critical. This end needs just a little bit. Touch that inside. That's pretty good right there. Looks fine. Anyway, I got all right, let's see if we can remember how we was going to do this now. I cut this piece 8.5 inches long. I squared the ends off in the middle here just to make sure they were square. I know this end don't matter that much, but we're going to cut it off. I've already used my edge finder to find from this end to here. We're going to go, what did it say, 5.875. So up here on the DRO I can dial that in. 5.875 right there. All right. And then we need to come over 5/8 on the Y. So let's run the Y. But before I do that, I'm going to change tools. I think I'll use this 5/16 spot and drill just to get us a spot here. And I think I'm going to use it inside here also. Just need to be sure I can reach all the way through there here in a little bit. But all right, so let's dial the Y over 5/8, which will be 0.625. I don't know if you can see these numbers real good right there. Just a little, just in case you can see it. 0.625 is what I'm hunting, so see if I can get this done as quick as possible, not to waste time here watching something goofy here. But all right, there's 625. So that's where we want to spot that hole. So let's turn the mill on. Going backwards in. There we go. Way we got our hole in it now, and so laying like this, we got our hole in it. Remember, the next thing we were going to do is cut that 45 off, and after that we'll cut our length off. So, without wasting too much time, let me get set up on the saw and we'll do that. All right, I'm going to try to cut this off at a 45. But I will say, with these big radiuses in here and with that thick material, it's going to be awfully tough to get that exactly the right length. Lucky for me, I have a mill and I can probably mill off whichever end I need to make it right, but I don't know how accurate this needs to be anyway. Anyway, let's use this little grizzly. I got that set on a really accurate 45-degree angle, I hope, so let's try it out. Okay, so we got that done. I'm satisfied. That's the piece that goes on there, that welds on. Again, I've never built one of these. I don't know for sure, but you know, somewhere around in here is where that piece is. As far as the dimensions, and you know, again, I'm used to machining parts down to the 1,000th or less, or tenths of thousandths. I measured this. We come in probably within 20 thousandths of length and squareness and everything like that. There's no tolerances given on here. you know, I'm not used to dealing with things that are not plus or minus 10 or 20 or 30 thousandths or whatever. I'm satisfied that this part is above and beyond as good as it's supposed to be. But again, this is thick material. It says to use about 120 thousandths with this 11 gauge. I would suggest if you make these, probably make them out of the 11 gauge material, because this is so thick it makes it kind of hard to measure, and the radiuses are so big on this stuff that it's hard to measure where your angles are going to come out. But I lucked out and everything turned out just right. But anyway, that's pretty much the part we were looking for. Remember when we were on the computer kind of looking at that this morning? That's pretty much what we were going for. Everything turned out two-dimension, really close. And I had machined these. I don't remember. I might have showed a clip or two of that on the lathe. I don't know. We'll look into that. Depends on how long this video is already. I've marked all of the parts. These are the DOM tubes that were shown in the print. I didn't do DOM. I made this out of 4130 steel that I just had here laying around. All of the pieces listed there, I machined them myself over here on the lathe. Pretty simple job. So now I believe I have almost every part built except for the thin stuff, and I'll probably work on that some tomorrow. Probably there's no need in showing a lot of that, but all of these pieces you see here, things I had cut on the plasma machine, and the tables and plates. I'll just show you quickly around here. I think I've shown most of this. I cut a lot of this today. These are the flat bar pieces, and I've identified them all. Some of them I have to drill and tap holes in. There's a little bit more work to be done. Here's the 1.5-inch tubes. These are thick wall tube here. And so that's just where I'm at with this right now. It is very time consuming to do this stuff. So I guess I'm on my second weekend of working on this, just a little bit. I haven't spent all day or anything. I just spend a little bit of time I have here. So anyway, that's where I'm at with this, and I have a little bit of 3/8 material there, Barry, that we talked about. That's pretty decent material there. That might be enough to cut what you need. I have this other piece that's a little more pitted. It's not terrible, but it is kind of pitted. But yeah, I have enough to probably cut what you need. If you want, I can sell this material to you. I did get this from some family member that's a welder, but I didn't get it for free. So I forget whatever I quoted you there. I think something like $75 was for that material. So anyway, I'm not trying to get any business out of this at all. I'm just, if you need me to help you build some of this stuff, I can probably do that. I can't do it real quick because like I said, I work 50 hours a week. I'm just doing this as I can on the weekend, and I haven't even started welding any of this together yet. So anyway, well, thanks for watching the second part of this, and that's just where I'm at for now. And got some more complicated parts to build that I probably won't show you all of that. It's just too time consuming. So I'll update you where I am next weekend probably. All right, see you next time.